What's up everyone, welcome to the FireKeepers Casino 400 Top 5 DFS Picks video for Sunday, August 7th around 3 p.m. Eastern. As always, I'm your host, Chris Pennell. You can find me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and this video is presented by PrizePicks. And in today's video, we are going over general track strategy, how to approach this slate from a DFS perspective, and my 5 favorite plays on the slate. Please keep in mind this video is being recorded pre-practice and qualifying, so some of my thoughts and opinions on these drivers could and will probably end up changing throughout the weekend. So making sure you're staying up to date on what happens on the track on Saturday and Sunday will be very beneficial to you when creating fantasy NASCAR lineups this weekend. And if you want the up-to-date info and analysis, you can find me and Jason on the Stokastic Live Before Lock show, or break down the entire slate and answer any questions you may end up having. And as far as how we should approach this slate from a DFS perspective, Michigan is a 2-mile D-shaped oval, and we don't really have that many great comparisons to it. We could look at Pocono the couple weeks ago because it's another higher speed track, but you also have to keep in mind there's 3 turns there and it's flatter. So while I think it's nice having a higher speed track to compare to, I would say Kansas is probably our best comparable track, but you could also throw an Auto Club in there. It's another 2-mile track where you're going to see higher speeds. We were at Charlotte earlier in the season and also Las Vegas as well. But really, I think the most important thing is what we're going to see in practice this weekend. So like I said, video is being recorded beforehand, so I could have some updated thoughts here, but my hunch is, as of right now, we are going to see the Toyotas be the top dogs this weekend like we saw at Kansas, which is the most similar track, and they were obviously very strong at Pocono as well. And if you date earlier to the season, they did struggle early on, but they were having overheating issues with their engines, and that was especially Auto Club, if you watched that race, where they all were pretty bad during that one. But overall, I would expect the Toyotas to be up top, Chevy right there with them, and the Fords lagging way behind, and that does reflect over the DK Sportsbook if you're looking to bet the top manufacturer to win heading into this weekend. And as far as dominator points are concerned, we do have 200 laps this weekend, so well over 100 dominator points available to us. While they are important, it's not like it's a 300, 400, 500 lap race where you're going to have to absolutely jam in as many dominators as possible, because we've seen at these track types this year in this aero package where sometimes there's a lot of wrecks and there can be some lead changes as well. So there's something to keep in mind, but I think overall you're looking at 1 to 2 doms per lineup for the most part. So getting into the picks, we will start with number 5, and I originally wanted to put Kurt Busch on here because his price point was very low. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the case this weekend, so I'm going with his teammate, Bubba Wallace, $74 on DraftKings, $7,800 over on FanDuel, and this is basically me just picking the cheapest Toyota available to me. Could end up being Ty Gibbs, but we do not have a DK salary for him, so just going to assume Bubba's the cheapest as of right now, but it will probably end up being Ty Gibbs. But either way, I do prefer Bubba Wallace in that scenario. I have to assume the Toyotas are going to have the fastest cars this weekend, and Bubba's been fine at the intermediate tracks. Now the problem is he does end up having a lot of issues on pit road, which can kind of derail his race and kind of skew his numbers a bit, but he does have a couple top 10 finishes at similar tracks this year. Green flag speed wise, he's looked pretty strong as well. I know it's kind of mid-pack, but like I said, the Toyotas have been getting progressively better throughout the season, and there's been several races where he's 5th, 10th in green flag speed rankings, including Charlotte and Kansas. And if this race is going to be anything like Kansas, we saw all the Toyotas finish inside the top 10 during that race. So I like the price point on both sides here for Bubba Wallace, and I definitely think he could be a top 10, top 12 contender. And moving on to number 4, we are going with the Trackhouse car here. Daniel Suarez at $8,600 on DraftKings, $9,000 over on FanDuel. Was able to finish top 5 at Pocono and top 5 at Auto Club earlier in the season. And yes, I know he had a poor finish at Charlotte earlier in the season where he finished 25th, but he had arguably one of, if not the best car in the field. Was able to move through the field a couple of times, was able to pick up a lot of fast laps, a lot of lap leads. But if you're just looking at the final result there, 25th, obviously not going to look too good. But like I can always say in NASCAR, there's a lot of numbers that are skewed unless you look beneath the surface. And that's a guy with Daniel Suarez, where he's had some pretty poor races. 25th at Charlotte, 33rd at Kansas, and 37th at Vegas. But those are just issues out of his control. And really the only clean races we've had out of the 5 larger speed intermediate tracks, he's finished in the top 5 in both of those races. So I do think Daniel Suarez definitely has quite the ceiling here. And I've said it multiple times this year, but I'm pretty sure the Trackhouse cars are cheating. They just haven't gotten caught yet. And I want the cheaters on my teams because they have pretty fast cars. So Daniel Suarez, assuming all goes well over the course of this weekend, at a mid 8K price point, he's a legit top 5 contender. And moving on to number 3, hopping back on the Toyota train here, we are taking the driver of the number 20 car of Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell, $9,000 on DraftKings, up to $10K over on FanDuel. The price they come up over on FanDuel because he's usually in that $9K range, but still obviously playable on both sites. But he has been incredibly consistent at these track types this year. Doesn't have a win at a large intermediate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened at some point this season. 6th at Pocono, even led some laps there. 5th at Charlotte, 5th at Kansas, 10th at Las Vegas. Had an issue early in the season at Auto Club where he finished 36, but if you exclude that race, he arguably has some of the most consistent numbers, if not the most consistent numbers at these track types this year, looking overall at the 5-race sample size, and this is including his poor race at Auto Club. The average finish of 12.4, strong running position, 4 top 10s, and 5 tries. So the only time he did not finish inside the top 10 was the issue he had at Auto Club early in the season. So loving Bell this weekend in all formats. Don't really care where he starts. He's either going to be a great cash game play or a great tournament play for me. Just depends on where he qualifies. And before we get into our next pick, I want to talk about our sponsor, PrizePicks. They offer daily prop-based contests, and you can use promo code OSMO for a $100 first match deposit bonus. There's no sharks, optimizers, or mass entries over on PrizePicks, and 5-player lineups net up to 10 times your entry fee. Use your knowledge of multiple sports, cross-sport entries. You can download in the App Store, on Google Play, or play over on PrizePicks.com. And you can use our free player prop tools to help you make the best selections. And you also get 1 free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit over at PrizePicks. And you'll receive that email within 24 to 48 hours after to redeem your free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. And moving on to number 2, it was tough to decide if I wanted to go all in with the JGR guys up top or if I wanted to mention Ross, which I usually do most weeks. And I decided to go with the latter there. We're talking Ross Chastain, 10K over on DK, 12 flat over on FanDuel. And I know the past couple weeks, if you have rostered Ross, you have not had a good time. Now, you were having a good time at certain portions of the race because he was P2 last week, and near the very end ended up getting the penalty where he had to finish tail end around P27th, I want to say, at the end of the race, which obviously killed your day. And then the week prior at Pocono, arguably the best driver in the field during that race, had a super fast car, was able to get up front, ends up getting taken out by Denny Hamlin near the end of the race. That's back-to-back weeks where super fast car was doing very well DFS-wise and ends up killing your day. But if you can look past that, you just look at the raw speed that Ross has had this year, which is what you're going to need at a track like Michigan, where we're going to be able to get higher speeds this weekend, need that horsepower, and obviously Ross and the Trackhouse cars, they have tons of speed no matter what kind of track type they're at this year. And even with the wreck at Pocono and this sample size, he's still averaging the 3rd most DraftKings points per race at the large high-speed intermediate so far this year, the most laps led, and the 2nd most fast laps. So while he's on a Toyota, I think they're going to be the top dogs this weekend. A guy like Ross is someone who can certainly disrupt that and pull out the win this weekend. So love him in all formats, no matter where he qualifies. And finally, my number 1 DFS play for the FireKeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway. It's got to be Kyle Busch, $10,500 on DraftKings, 13.5 over on FanDuel. And like I've mentioned multiple times throughout this video, I think the Toyotas are going to be the best overall manufacturer this weekend, and Kyle Busch has been killing it at these track types this season. He was even great at them last year. Obviously, it's a whole different car, but just nice to see some consistency of how good he's been at these track types over the past couple of seasons. But no one is averaging more DraftKings points per race at these track types than Kyle Busch. He's got the 2nd best average finish. He's got the most top 5s, the most fast laps. And if you're looking at his overall finishes at these track types, he finished 2nd at Pocono, obviously got the DQ at the end of the day, but he still had a very fast car. 2nd at Charlotte, 3rd at Kansas, 4th in Vegas. That is 4 straight top 5 finishes at these kind of track types. And then 14th at Auto Club. But you got to keep in mind, they did struggle early on in the season. So he opened up with the 2nd best odds to win this race over in Vegas, only behind Chase Elliott. And this price tag isn't really that hard to get to Kyle. So I'm looking to be overweight on him in just about all formats this weekend, assuming Toyota shows me the speed I think they're going to show me in practice. And just to recap, at number 5, we have Bubba Wallace. Number 4, Daniel Suarez. Number 3, Christopher Bell. Number 2, Ross Chastain. And number 1, Kyle Busch. You're mainly just picking on the Toyotas here and the Trackhouse cars, which I think both teams are going to bring a lot of speed heading into the weekend. And if you did enjoy today's content, all we ask in return is if you can leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and feel free to leave a comment down below telling us your 5 favorite plays heading into this weekend. And don't forget to check us out over on the Line Before Lock show over on the Stokastic YouTube channel that you're on right now with me and Jason Floyd, where we'll break down the entire slate answer any questions you may end up having post-practice and qualifying to get those most up-to-date thoughts and analysis. But with that being said, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'm looking forward to the race at Michigan this weekend.